Can't get out of this mood.
That's Hunter.
Can't get over. Can't get over. Can't get out of this mood. Can't get over. Can't get over. Can't get out of this mood. Can't get over. Can't get over. Can't get out of this mood. Can't get over this. Can't get over this. Can't get out of this mood.
I believe I'll get married someday. Well, but yeah, like BBC said, I'm getting married in January, so and I've been engaged since last February. My name is Melvin. I'm a child surveyor, and I work in management of like construction buildings for housing associations. But yeah, I just thought it was an important next stage, next chapter of my life, so I just decided to go for it.
But a lot can happen between now and then, though.
Well, I've already been engaged for almost a year and a half.
But engagement does not equal marriage.
Yeah, no, obviously not yet. But it's a long time to really think about it and decide if that's really what you want to go for.
Why did you guys choose to get married when the contract is like against you?
Contracts again.
Yeah, so like women can leave and take half and put you on child support. So if I was a guy, like I would have a really hard time getting married.
But a man
and that's
could
why
do the same.
What?
A man could do the same.
Not statistically. Okay, so my name is Pearl,
What's
and
up,
I
Pearl?
do YouTube. And she can take your kids.
What's
like men only
good?
get sole custody 7% of the time, and
Very
women leave
true.
80% of the time, and they leave 90% if they're college educated.
Right.
So if I was a dude and I was looking at these numbers in front of me, like I would have a really hard time with
But
it.
I think it's the type of woman.
Let me just say that real quick, because the thing is, in today's society, what Pearl has said is very true. I agree with her 100%. 80% of the time, women initiate divorce. It's a lot of reasons for that, why women does that. One major factor of the cost of the, divorce or, wrecking their relationship at home is because women are just emotional creatures. That's what it is. They're emotional. Either they're emotional, they lose respect to the guy, or there could be a plethora of negative things that gives a woman a reason why to initiate the divorce with her husband. And last but not least, she doesn't respect her husband. She gets bored. And that's why that births the majority of the women in today's society that are like wrecking their home, breaking their family, and initiating breakups and divorce. It's just the facts. A man cannot do the same thing, because if a man, I mean, sure, it happens, but if men rarely initiates divorce. If anything, if a man initiates a divorce, either the woman must have done something really, really heinous. Either like she tried to abuse the kids, she's on drugs, or she's a, what do you call it, she's a prior felon, or anything else that would contribute to a man initiating divorce. But anyway, let's continue.
That you are. So, for example, the reason why I sat down is because my someday was a day. I was married. Hi, I'm Camilla. I am an event host and presenter. I did that contract. I said, right, this is the right thing for me to do at that time. I had a 2-year engagement. In that time, I was thinking, I think it was too long. Yeah. So by the time I got down the aisle, I was hella confused, and I didn't know whether that was exactly the right thing for me to do. However, I was the higher earner, so I didn't look at that contract like it would affect me, to be honest.
Well, you're the girl. And so, like, the courts favor women in general. And so, like, from a girl's point of view, I want to get married. Of course I want to get married. But, like, if I was a guy, I would have a really hard time with it. And you could say it's the type of woman, but 50% of marriages end in divorce. Women leave the majority of the time.
Also, one more thing. Let me add one more thing. What Pearl said is very true. Because the thing is, when women initiates the divorce, that's another reason why women initiates divorce a lot of times. Because if they do, they take 50% of the man's asset. They take half of the man's assets. And this is why marriage for women in today's society through the governmental system is it's incentivized for them. You know, as a matter of fact, I'd go far. I would much rather say. I mean, I'd go far as like it's it can be their full time job. It can be their job too, because women only women benefits from marriage. Men don't get benefit from the marriage. What if a man marries a woman who's promiscuous, doesn't know her history, her background? That's and that could lead to a dangerous relationship and toxic relationship between a man and a woman, and a woman becoming delinquent. But see, the thing is today, that's why I tell men all the time, if you want to get married, man, don't get married here. Do not get married here in America. If you do, you better find a woman who would, who doesn't have a promiscuous past, at least a very low body count, or doesn't party all the time. Basically, what I'm saying, traditional. Yes, a traditional woman. And apparently that's significantly hard to find that traditional woman in the Western society. Significantly hard. And thus passport bros exist. So if you get your passport, there's nothing here in America anymore. And a lot of guys out here today with passport, they go out to a different country and they find a better relationship out there. If you can't catch a fish in one place, migrate to another place where you can catch a better fish, or migrate to another place where you can have a better chance of catching fish. Continue.
I don't think it's the type of women. I think it's that they're paying women to leave.
And I think
50% succeed as well.
That's true, but it's like you. But here's the
do
thing:
they succeed happily?
But this
because I know a lot of married people that are not happily married, and I'm choosing to be single, happily single. But no, because divorce is long. I'm telling you from someone that's been in it. It's long, it's expensive, it's emotional, it's hard work. Most of us can't be bothered.
When you have a contract that someone's paid to leave, like more people are going to do it. And you could argue that it's the quality of the woman, but if it's a 50% chance she can take your kids and take half. Like, if I was a guy, I would have a hard time with it. So I'm curious what makes you guys want to go through with that.
Well, you're using the key word
contracts. Exactly.
Which is what I don't see my marriage as. My name is Ayokune. I'm an entrepreneur. And then I think...
But it is, like right now, the way it is. It is a contract.
Legally speaking, it's a contract,
But if you were married traditionally, there is no contract, but you're still married and you still have the value. So I don't even think, I personally don't link marriage to a contract.
No.
Because you could be married as a Muslim under...
You could, but the thing is, the government twists guys' arm basically and makes them get married. Because if a guy lives with a girl for so long, it's still classified like legally as.
I think for me, obviously, you're painting a picture of a big risk, and then even from that paradigm, I think in life, let's just be honest, there's no growth outside of the realm of taking risks. So, for me, like, I see my marriage to my wife as something, I'd call it a covenant rather than a contract. And I see it as a commitment to her based on my love for her. So my mindset is not going to be about, well, what if? It's going to be about, what if this could be something that could last a lifetime? What if this could produce children that will be X, Y, and Z? So I think it's just more about the value that I put on it, what I'm willing to put in it, what I believe she's willing to put in it as well, based on what she's shown me and responding to me, to my love. And that's the reason why. So,
but I think it's to do with your attitude in terms of what marriage means to
100%.
you. Because marriage doesn't necessarily mean the contract. It means, as you said, the covenant and the love.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for that selflessness, because that's, for me, why marriages fail, is because people are, their value bases are different.
Yes.
Their goals and aspirations for what they want out of that union, marriage, that's where the clash happens.
They ask,
not aligned, it won't work.
No, they ask people why they file, and the number one reason is financial. And oftentimes it's like because a girl starts out earning her husband, and then she.
And that's what I'm saying about values. If you love someone, you're going to want to see them grow.
But the majority of people that get divorced still remarry though.
Exactly, like myself.
So they obviously saw the value in the institution.
Right.
For them to go and look for it again. even though they had a failed one the first time.
I agree with I think marriage is good for families. Like, I want to get married, but I just think that the laws need to change to make it equal for men. In the US, it's even worse, but here there's issues too. But in the US, like, I'm from Chicago, and there's a case where a woman literally took the kid to Japan.
Wow.
And she claimed child support because she said, oh, he's not in the kid's life legally. And she gets roughly 10K a month.
You know, that's another reason why. See, that's the main problem of women today. You know, initiating divorce and taking the children and taking them to a different country. It's no wonder why the dad cannot see the kids, and yet at the same time, that dad is paying child support from a long distance, while the dad don't have the chance or don't have the power or the authority to see his kids, not even for the weekends, because of this toxic mom that that controls the relationship with the kids and with the dad. Basically, she's the one who's corrupting the kids' mind about their dad. The dad is this, the dad is an evil guy, the dad is trash, the dad left. You know, this mom will spew lies and put lies into their kids' minds, so that way when the kids gets older, those kids will learn out of their dad, but then realizing in the future when they have a deep talk with their dad, realizing that, look, I'm gonna show you all the receipts that I've been doing every month. I've been paying you child support. This is the reason why I can't come see you, because your mom put a restraining order on me, and your mom is telling me that I'm an evil person. But look at all this child support that I've been paying that I've been giving your mom, so you can have a sustainable life financially, so you can have so you guys can be financially stable and can be, so that way your mom can buy all the things that you need on your daily necessity or your necessity daily lives, in your necessity daily lives. But because of the mom is so toxic, she would lie, but then eventually the lie will be exposed into the light, and all that truth that has been suppressed for over the years will come out, and the kids will realize, wow, mom has been lying to us for a long time now. She's telling us that dad is evil, dad is this, dad is that, but then realizing, meeting dad in person, he's the nicest person ever. He's been helping us from a distance. But see, the mom out here today just giving you this side of the story, but never this side of the story. You see what I'm saying? See, that's why American women today are failing, or not just American women, but the first world Western country. The women in the first world Western country today are failing. Watch this. In the next 10 to 15 years, the relationship status or the marriage status in the first world Western society will significantly decrease down to a very minimum. And all of these female out here today will be single, alone, and childless. While these men out here today in this first world society flew out to a third world country or Southeast Asia or South Central America to find a better relationship, to find a better love, to find a better family. Let's continue.
To steal his child. When there are cases like that all over the country, there's cases like that in the UK too. When that is the outcome of divorce, like if I was a guy, I would be scared shitless to get married. Yeah.
Pearl's a woman and she didn't understand the men's position.
The reason I didn't see myself getting married is kind of what you said, the way the laws are today. Yes, marriage can mean different things to different people, but the contract is very much there. And the way the laws work today, it puts men in an incredibly vulnerable position.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize that divorce is one of the number one factors for why men over 40 kill themselves.
I agree, yes.
Because they are emotionally, financially, economically devastated.
Before that, men are 3.88 times more likely to kill themselves than women. 3.88 times more.
My name is Kit Isarosho. I'm a full-time actor and content creator. Because of our attitudes today, there's not really much you can have, or rather, you can have everything that the meaning of marriage brings outside of the contract of marriage.
I think that marriage in the Western world has become a joke. It's become a reality show. You got 90 Day Fiance. You got love at first sight, married at first sight. My name is Sarah Garvey. I am a professional podcaster, social commentator, and generally a people that pisses people off. You got all of
With the
these
truth.
marriage shows, and then people want to act like marriage is some kind of sanctimonious, holy thing. It's not. It's literally a reality show. And so when people are watching these things on a day-to-day basis and consuming marriage, literally, there are people on TV that have 90 days to get a visa and marry,
But it's
right?
relatable. So they have cooking shows because cooking is relatable.
Yeah, but
they have
What?
makeup
That's
shows
not the
because
same.
makeup is relatable. It's just a topic.
But marriage doesn't have to be holy. No, but marriage is a union.
Civil ceremony and
Yeah, all right.
But you guys don't, come on, you guys don't think that says something about our society
Yeah,
today?
the society's broken.
And
That's what I was going to say. It comes back to the propaganda of why those
What kind of asinine comparison is that? Cooking in marriage is not the same. Cooking is something you learn. Marriage is something that you commit for the rest of your life with your significant spouse or your partner. What kind of asinine response is that? Who is this woman, bro? What is she doing in this podcast? She has no logic, bro. Wow. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Wow, it's really. So apples and orange are the same? I mean, they're fruit, but they're not the same fruit. They're like apples and oranges. One is apple, one is orange. They're not the same. You can't compare them.
exist, and maybe the agenda behind of why that show actually exists.
No, the thing is, it exists because it can only exist if there is a market for consumption for it. Because you can have something on the shelf that people don't like, and people won't buy it. But the bottom line is,
it's relatable. Everybody knows.
So then the society's broken.
So paint a picture of what that should look like, or propaganda an agenda behind that, and be like.
So society doesn't take marriage seriously, and that you can go back to the statistics. 50% of marriages end in divorce. If I
That doesn't mean.
And
No, but hang on.
on top of that, it's mostly the
doesn't mean that they get seriously.
but hang on. But if I said to you, you can go to your greatest holiday destination, the best one you can go to, you can think of in your mind, and you get on that plane, and that plane has a 50% chance of reaching your destination. You're gonna get on that plane?
Oh no, but that's too different.
No, you won't, because you know that it's too risky to actually get on the plane. Right? But you're
Let's go, yeah.
You don't think it's that serious when you could lose custody of your children? Like that's serious. Like that's,
how many relationships say you have a child or whatever? You had a relationship, you didn't get married or whatever. How many of those break up?
And you wonder why we have a lot of school shooters, we have a lot of rapists, we have a lot of serial killers, we have a lot of psychotic killers in this first world Western society because of the lack of parents. Most of the time, I'm not saying 100%, but most of the time, single moms, kids with single moms tend to or most likely will grow up to be delinquent, such as what I mentioned earlier: school shooting, rapist, psychotic killer, I don't know, murder, or all types of stuff, all types of delinquent stuff that doesn't contribute to the society. This is why mom and dad are very essential to these children's growth development, because without the dad, these kids will lack the emotional control, or to become like more of stoic, to gain the stoicism from the father. See, but without the mom, with the father, it's actually okay. See, actually, to be honest with you, single dad has a better way of raising their kids than single moms. It's reality, bro. It's psychology, because they teach their kids, like, for example, the daughter, they teach their daughter not to be promiscuous. They teach their daughter to save your best, find the best man and save that until after marriage, where they teach their son not to be emotional. They teach their son how to be, how to stick to facts and logics and reality and become stoic. Okay, not break down, cry, and become emotional. That's all I could say. They're right. But at the end of the day, I'd say mom and dad are the most essential for the child development. And this is why it's not worth, and another thing is why it's not worth getting married in this, it's not worth getting married in this, in America anymore, or in the first world country, especially here in America. It's just not worth it. It's the marriage out here today is just becoming a clown foolery, buffoonery in a circus clown world. It's becoming a Cirque du Soleil, mental gymnastics. Nobody got time for that.
Exactly, and there's so many baby fathers that don't get to see their children for one night stand.
I think
so. It still doesn't make sense. You've got baby mothers that are not letting you see your children. They need to be married to that.
You're right. I'm with it. Like, I think the laws are like, those laws need to change too.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I'm saying, like, right now the laws disproportionately affect men. So if men don't start walking away, there will never be change.
Maybe men need to fight the same way women have to fight.
No, they make fun of men. Like when they say I do this all the time. I interview people on the street daily. When I talk about men's rights, women will come and say, men, like, what rights do they need? But they don't understand, like, the laws protect women from everything.
So, marriage is an outdated institution.
I'll stay.
You stay, yeah?
Yeah, do
I'm gonna bring.
I knew she's gonna leave. I knew I was waiting for it.
I've already got the new contract. Yeah, because we're talking about contract. Got a new contract.
Yeah.
I think human beings right now should do either temporary marriage contracts or rolling relationship contracts. And I mean this. I mean, if you find someone that you actually want to be with, yeah, you can laugh.
It's true though. I agree.
Listen, you can laugh, but the way the divorce rate's going right now,
I agree with you.
yeah.
I agree with you.
But I'm saying, if you have like a relationship contract that lasts it, you decide with your partner, well, let's try this for a year. If we're happy after a year, we'll continue the contract. And within that contract, you can stipulate to your partner, and your partner can stipulate to you exactly what they want from the relationship and exactly what they expect from the relationship.
The reason I think marriage is outdated is because a lot of ways in how the government oversees marriage is largely based on the way society worked 60 years ago. Mm-hmm. So the whole reason why, the divorce court and family court seem today so biased towards the women was because those laws were set up in a time where women didn't have the same earning potential as men, they didn't have the same rights as men. But now they do, but those laws haven't been updated. So I do think it's outdated. Also,
hold on one second. I just want to squeeze this in real quick, because the marriage system or the marriage court system only panders to women. Like I said, that's why 90% of the time men loses the court battle or the court case. And when the men get married, when the man gets married to a woman, like I said earlier, they rarely initiate the divorce. There's a saying that it's cheaper to keep her. Even if they file the divorce, they will still lose. And if a woman filed a divorce, he will definitely lose. So what's the point of getting married?
There was a conversation earlier saying that marriage is taken seriously in the government. No, it's not. Because in marriage, you say for better, for worse, till death do us part. And people get divorced all the time. I would consider getting married today if it was illegal to get divorced.
I hear that. I actually hear that.
Yeah,
It's too easy to get divorced.
I think marriage as an institution works, but the problem is the way they do it today just doesn't work. Women are different today than they were in the 1950s. It's not the same type of women.
And essentially, what was marriage for? Like, when you got married, you were getting married to a virgin. That's the whole white dress thing, right? You'll be hard-pressed to find a virgin woman nowadays. You're going to get married to. So a man knows that he was going to get this woman untouched and she was going to be his for life. Yeah. You ain't getting no untouched woman nowadays.
And that's the thing. If a woman slept if she's a virgin, she has an 80% chance of having a happy marriage in 10 years. If she slept with more than 5 partners, which most men would pray for nowadays, it goes down to a 20% chance. So women are different than they were in the 1950s.
Also, as well, I think nowadays people get married for love, but marriage has always been about duty.
Yes.
It's always been about, when you say you marry someone, you're saying, I am committing to fulfilling the role of being the husband to you and the father to the children, for better, for worse, and vice versa, for the woman being the wife and the mother. But now everybody gets married.
Bravo to that brother, man. Well said, brother. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's about, like I said, marriage is about commitment to one another through thick and thin, no matter what. A woman has a role in marriage. A man has a role in marriage. A man provide, a woman, basically a woman nurtures and takes care of the kids, takes care of the house, cook and clean, not just cook and clean, but not being promiscuous. Okay? Sticking to one man only. And that's her husband. Let's proceed.
For love, and love fluctuates, but
people get married for clout.
You also used to have the families involved.
Very much so.
And so, like, fathers would vet the people that their daughters were seeing.
Right.
Now it's like girls will go after the guy that, like, feels them.
Feels good.
It feels good, but that's not usually the best husband.
And guys will do the same thing. Guys will go after a girl that...
An IG baddie.
Yeah, an IG baddie that looks great. And you know what? Her whole attitude is ridiculous. And she doesn't know how to be a mother. She doesn't know how to be a cook. She doesn't know how to clean. She doesn't know how to do all of the things that you would expect from the duties that you would expect from a wife. So, yeah, I just think, the institutions are outdated because I think human beings in the West generally have outgrown the essentials of what marriage is.
Double standards.
Got their claws out.
I can hear the chairs like creaking back there, like double dutch, like they want to get in.
Big Shirley's back. Big Lizzo.
There were so many points I disagreed with. I just need to say, firstly,
Are we talking about marriage being outdated?
Disagree.
You think it's not outdated?
the divorce statement. It is hard to get divorced. I say
What?
that because
Are you serious?
there are several steps you have to take.
Hold on. Wait, what? The divorce is hard for... I'm out of here. I can't do this. Who is this? Oh, gosh. What is she doing here? She's... Wow. Man, if cognitive dissonance is a real person, it will be her. It will be her. Or delusion right there. Miss Delusion is over there in the clown world. She's covered with Disney delusion. She's out of touch with reality. She's looking at the outline there, not the majority. That's the problem with delusional people today, or liberal retard women today, modern women, I say. Out of touch with reality. When you throw facts and statistics on them, they start deflecting, they start getting angry and getting mad and start throwing sign language at you because they have nothing intellectual to throw back at you. Let's proceed.
You have to prove to the courts that you have tried everything. You have to go through mediation. You've got to go to counselling. You've got to get a decree nisi. You then have to wait 6 months, a year, to see whether you can form again, and then you get your divorce.
Would you agree that if 50% of people that get married are doing it, it's not that hard? Because it's not hard enough that it deters.
But there are
That means out of us 6, half of us would be able to get a divorce.
But that's the same way that if I had 6 women here, half of us would probably be able to make babies and half wouldn't. And some would say it's easy to procreate.
No.
Some would say it's easy to conceive. Some say it was easy to give birth, but it's not.
No,
Do you think it's hard to give birth?
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
I think most women
Man, shut up.
80% of
Shut
women
up.
have reproduced historically.
I'm talking about how complicated it is with the food that we eat, the contraceptives that we take, the lifestyle that we choose to live.
Right.
Things are complicated.
If you make
When I'm talking about twerking, because I twerk, I do. Does that mean that I'm not wife material?
To some men, yeah.
If you were my wife,
Yeah.
and you went to a club and you were twerking,
So are we saying strippers are not
get
my
out of
material?
here, man.
Wait, that's your value.
They're not.
It's
Yeah,
my job.
I agree.
Why can't it be my job? Why can't it be my job? I got a fat ass and I know how to make
Not
money
my
for
wife.
me. Why?
Someone
Big Shirley out here getting offended. Big Shirley. Big Shirley's getting activated. Big Shirley.
Be someone else's wife.
This is what you want to do. You want the benefits without the consequences. Like the consequences, men aren't attracted to women that shake their ass on a pole outside of a one-night stand. They're not attracted.
See, that's the problem with women today. They only benefit to double standards when it benefits them. No, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. They only ride the double standard when it benefits them. When it starts to become uncomfortable, that's when they start throwing sign language on the double standards. See, man, what you can't do is separate what comes with it. Okay? If the car comes with the engine, you can't just take the car and assume that you can drive the car without the engine. You gotta have the engine, you gotta have the tires, you gotta have the steering wheel, you gotta have the gear shifting, you gotta have a gas in it in order for that car to function. And anything else that comes with the car, that's a part of the car to help the car function, has to be a part of that car. You can't just disregard this part and just take this part. It doesn't go that way. Okay, this is reality. We live in reality. If you want that reward, you have to go through the challenges to get that reward. You can't just skip to the reward without going through the challenges. I hope you get what I'm saying. But you know you get what I'm saying, right? See, every benefit has its uncomfortable truth or uncomfortable reality that comes with it. You know, it's kind of like with the Justice League. What was this dude's name who can copy every Justice League, the DC? There's this dude who can copy everyone's power, right? But see, when he copies everyone's power, he also gained their weakness too. I don't know his name. I forgot his name, but if you know his name, just leave it in the comment section down below. But see, what point is, that's the delusional woman today would only benefit to double standards when it's like going, when it's like on the bright side, but then afraid or denying to see the bad side of how that bad side turns into good.
To that long term typically because historically men had to ensure paternity.
So I'm at carnival and I'm shaking my ass. I'm not wife material.
No, can I ask you a question?
No, I tell you what.
So you are ruling out half of the banding from the carnival, yeah?
I tell you what you are. You're someone else's wife material. You're not mine. But I'm saying if you go to a club and you're twerking with a guy and you're my wife, you're no longer my wife. You're his girl for the For some reason, you're his girl. My wife wouldn't do that.
Marriage is a concept that serves to trap women.
Trap women? Oh.
Yeah, trap women.
Marriage is a concept that serves
Pays them
to
to
trap
leave.
women.
Oh, wow. Better talk to yourself. Trap women.
I can't believe that.
No, you're paid to leave.
What left there?
Like, you two should start because you didn't say it the last time.
Personally, I think marriage favors women more than anything. I think it's a security for women, if anything, rather than keeping them hostage. It's easier for them to divorce. It's easier for them to block the whole thing off. Statistically, most divorces are started by women, initiated by women for all sorts of different reasons. So them being locked in the marriage is, it's a farce, to be honest.
But I don't know, I think we're basing it on the UK. When we think about third world countries where opportunity lies if you get married, and sometimes visa, stay, spousal things, to be fair, a lot of women in lower economic backgrounds actually rely on a marriage to get them out of situations.
That's not a bad thing. That like relying on people, that's like the foundation of marriage is you rely on each other. And a lot of times, can I finish? And I say, and a lot of times, like we look at women as they were like trapped throughout all of history or in third world countries, but they get protection from the man. They get provisioning from the man. Like it's
Some also get abused by the man.
You're right.
So
but
then they are stuck
is that
in
your
this
opinion?
relationship.
Is that your opinion on men that by and large they're abusing women?
No, that's my experience because that's a field that I work in. So I know women that are being abused in marriages, but are stuck.
Well, it's actually
no, they're not. That's what I was saying.
Like Muslim marriages or
right?
something like that.
And women that come to the UK from different lower economic countries, they're stuck in that because they're waiting on their visa. And if they walk away from that marriage, it's only now the law has changed.
If you look at one-sided abuse when one side is hitting the other and it's not returned, women do it more than men do. They do it 70% of the time because most abusive situations are hitting each other.
I can't tell
So you see those marriages you're talking about though, like non-Western marriages, I get you. Because I think it's in certain cultures, a man can just say, I divorce you 3 times and then she's divorced, and then a woman can't do the same thing. So I get it. Do you get what I'm saying? But here in the Western world, a woman can get out of a marriage quite easily.
And she's paid to. She's paid to
do it. She can lie about it and get out of a divorce.
Scot-free.
She can cheat and then get the man's money, his house, his children.
Hashtag
OJ Simpson.
No, when you go to court, you have to prove she's cheated.
If you can't prove she cheated.
And here's Birth Passport Bros and MGTOW.
Yeah, because they ask you why you getting divorced, and they will say, is it adultery? Is it unreconcilable differences? It's not just so easy. That's what I'm saying. You can't say, oh yeah, I saw what's happening and found.
No, yes, it is irreconcilable differences. Because of the woman who's combative, argumentative, disagreeable, a woman just like you, who's disagreeable, argumentative, masculine, combative, and gives a man a headache because you want to be just like him. You want to be the leader. You don't want to take the woman's role in the marriage. In a marriage, as a woman, you have to take a woman's role. In a marriage, as a man has to take a man's role. A woman cannot take the man's role, and a man cannot take the woman's role. That's asinine backwards. That's head inside of your ass. It doesn't work that way. This is why we have certain roles for men and certain roles for women when it comes to marriage. It's a yin and yang. It can't be yin and yin. It can be yang and yang. No, it has yin. And this is why we got yin and yang. So it can be balanced. Without the balance, it creates chaos.
Flirt from the guy in the club.
That's not
what they'll also do is one out of four marriages is sexless, usually on the woman's part. So a girl can also not give her guy sex, and then if he cheats, she can go to the courts and say, oh, he cheated, but you haven't slept with him in 2 years. What did you think was going to happen?
If you're not feeling loved, I'm not opening my legs. I could be married a little more.
You don't
but
think
if I'm not feeling
what if a guy doesn't feel like protecting you? Someone walks into the home, I don't feel like it.
Like, you
and I'll die. So you don't get sex.
So you don't think sex can shoot him?
Then if I don't get the innards, I could just find another woman who can give me the innards. It's no problem. Proceed.
Marriage.
I don't know.
Of course it's a duty. Where's he else getting it from?
Why is it a duty?
It's a duty.
It's a duty.
You sign a contract, you're supposed to have sex with your man.
Do you know that this is my body?
Yes. It's our body. It's our body.
How is this our body?
He's buying it.
Are your genes in this body?
You know, I'm going to be biblical here a little bit. It's actually in the Bible. The Bible says once you guys get married, a man and a woman becomes one flesh. So your body is his body. His body is your body. So therefore, you guys are one. He has the authority. He has the authority on your body. You have the authority on his body. But see, at the same time, even at marriage, women still have the power of consent to give. The power of punani to give consent to a man. It's very true. Married or not, she still have that power. She still have that consent.
But this is when you want all the benefits of marriage without the cost. Like, no guy's
married now. This is a hard.
Okay. I just have a question for the men. Would you get married if there was no sex involved?
No, I don't.
Would you get?
No man would.
That's what. Would you get married if there was no
That's
sex?
like in a bit of a relationship.
No, sir. Not me.
That's connotations that.
Duty.
I think duty is
Duty.
It's my duty as your husband.
Okay, so I'm carrying your child.
No, but it's my duty as your husband to make sure you look after.
I didn't say that was your duty. But that's what you align to what marriage is for.
What's a man's duty in a marriage?
It's not to protect me.
What's his
For
duty?
me, we're partners. I'm in a partnership when I'm in a marriage.
So you
we're
take the
giving
bins
the same way. I'm taking the bins out right now.
Don't sign me up.
I'm doing it all. I'm doing the flat pack.
So a crazy burglar runs in the house, and I'll be like, "You're up, love."
But I'm like bigger than you, so yes. How about that, Anna?
Hey, you want equality? That's equality right there, young lady. Madam. You want equality? I'm giving you the equality. I'm giving you the chance to be equal as me, okay? If someone breaks into the house, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you to go downstairs while I'm in a bed calling 911 to make sure the police will be here as quick as possible to de-escalate that situation or to de-escalate the problem in my house. So, do you want to take that duty? Because since you want to be equal, you might as well be the protector of the house. If we get jumped in the street, you protect me from those guys trying to mug us in the alley or in the street or down or in the street in the alley. You want to do that? Hey, you know what? That's equality. It's called equality. It comes with everything. So if you want to be like a man too, if you hit a man, don't expect the man to not hit you because that man will hit you back too. And if that man hits you back, you're going to sleep. And don't cry about it because you asked for equality. The hands is rated E for everyone. Let's proceed.
And I might be training fire. And yes, I'm up.
Why do women do this?
I'm just saying I can. I'm telling you, I can defend you.
Why do women act like they're men? Like you're not
Why is that man?
Because you know men are physically stronger than women. You know that
Yeah, and
I
generally.
probably can lift more than you anyway.
No, you can't. Look at. Here's the thing. I'm a 3-sport college athlete.
The amount of times that I walked away from this delusional Big Shirley right here is just palpable. Her delusional powers, her delusional mindset is just out of reality. Oh my goodness. Where did she get all this facts and statistics? From Disneyland? From the liberal retards? No, ma'am. A man is a lot stronger than a woman, okay? A man has a different muscle structures, bone density, DNA structure, and better yet, we have eggplants. You have the innards. Okay, it's different. We're not the same. We're physically stronger. We're physically agile. We're physically superior than a woman. Look at this. There was a video there's a video I saw us recently where these women college soccer athletes went up against these 15-year-old high school soccer boys. Guess what happened? Those 15-year-old boys dominated those college women. And this is why NBA is much more significantly prevalent than the WNBA. See if we're equally superior, or if we're equally physically strong, or if we're physically equal, why don't they let the WNBA players play against the NBA players? Why is that? If we're so much of an equal, if we're so physically equal, why is it not happening? Why is the WNBA not playing against the NBA players? You tell me that. I'll wait.
I've played with guys. You're not keeping up with the dude.
Why?
So the average dude is gonna outlift you, and like, and you saying like that's not true is disingenuous.
I'm not saying this, but I can defend myself. I now live by myself.
You can't.
If someone comes through my door today, who is going to defend me? Nobody but me.
But if you lived with a
That's what I'm trying to say.
you expect
But what you're trying to say is because you're here, I can't defend myself. I can defend myself.
What it comes from says, brum pa bum pa bum pa para baram pa bum pa bum, brum pa bum pa bum pa para baram baram brum, baram pa bum pa bum pa para baram baram bum. Let's proceed.
Do you, okay, yes or no?
First point of call.
Do you think
we
that...
say exactly? It doesn't mean you can't, but it means clarity. I'm willing to.
You need a mediator in this circle.
It's going good though.
Even the Titanic went down, I'd have been like, no,
Do you want me
she
to
can do it
mediate?
herself, man. I'm going on the boat. She's got no fault. I'm on the boat, not the women and children. Chivalry. Nah, man.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Marriage is a privilege and not a right.
Yes, it is a privilege.
Marriage
Yes.
is a privilege.
Yeah, it's a privilege. You're not entitled to anything in life. You know, it's something you share.
It's a privilege to women. Yes, it's privilege to women because when they get married, they own the man's assets. Yes, they automatically own whatever the man's possession, whatever they have, whatever the man have. The woman owns that automatically by law, by marriage. So this is why you don't get married through the government. You get married through the church, or specifically a small Christian church that doesn't involve the state or the government. See, when you involve the state or the government, that creates a problem. Let's continue.
Someone else that you agree with, that, you know, you're not entitled to it. You know, it's nice if you want it and you get it, but no one's entitled to it. It is a privilege.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a privilege. You're not entitled to love from anyone. I think it's a privilege to have a man take that much risk for you. I think that's absolutely a privilege because men take up a lot of risk in marriage.
I think marriage is definitely a privilege. You're not entitled to a woman's love. Like, you got to work for it in the beginning. I think the reason why it's a privilege nowadays is because so many people are not marriage material, and I think so many people are, both men and women though.
Right.
So many people are not marriage material, and I think when a man has to create his value, right? He has got to create his value and become that man that women want to marry.
Yeah.
Equally, a woman.
That is true. It's fact that see this why a man and a woman are not the same. When a woman is born, she already has her value. As soon as she's turned legal age, because see, every state in America has different legal age of consent. It range from 16, 17 to 18. But what I'm saying is once they reach those legal age of consent, a woman already has the power. A woman already has her value. She's at her peak, at her prime. Where a man at those same age as a legal age does not have the same power as that woman. A man has to create his value from 18 or from whatever legal is 16, 17, 18 and up to 30. He has to create his value in order for him to have the value to be attractive, to be more desirable amongst these women today. This is why men today live in hard mode. But however, that hard mode that they're living in has a better reward at the end of the tunnel. It's a hard life, but has better rewards. Women, on the other hand, live on easy mode. Whatever they do promiscuously, their value plummets down. It's a slippery slope for women. See, this is why for women today, they need to save their purity until they find the best man that they can marry and have kids with that man who is the best man, which is the same man that built himself up from ground up. See, a man who once a man reaches 30 and makes at least $100,000 a year, that's when he becomes valuable. Even at that day, even at that point, a man who's valuable will still not be as valuable as a woman who just turned legal age. That's why men and women are not the same. When men accomplish things, they get praise for it. When a woman acts promiscuously and have casual sex amongst men, then she gets, what do you call it? She doesn't get reward from that. Her value lowers down. That's all I can say.
Has to create a value to become that woman that a man wants to be, and that's why so many people are not getting married nowadays, because whether consciously or subconsciously they see within the other sex, you're not quite marriage material. So yeah, it's a privilege.
I think the material part that you're saying, I think culturally, I think maybe it's where toxic masculinity can come into play, and maybe in what you said earlier about women trying to be men may bring a bit of skewed factors as to the value systems, as to what people are getting into when they get married, and a lot of breakdowns that I hear tends to break down around that value system of what they believe it should be like and what the wife should be like, and then there's this. So the material part, I think, comes back to how are we teaching what marriage is, what our value marriage is, and whether we're just doing it for the benefits of it or whether we actually want to do it for the sake of actually choosing to love someone.
And I think there is stuff for both. I know we're hearing about women walking away from children, but I think it's just as risky
100%.
for a woman to choose a particular man to get married to. Because honestly, you don't really know often what you're marrying into, whether you're marrying into a family of chaos and
You haven't done that research yet? Before you marry?
But you might not know it. Sometimes you don't know. You apply for a job.
You should know.
No. What says...
You're going to get married.
Definitely not. On a job description, it says something, whatever. You go through your probation period, it's fantastic. 3 months, and then you see the truth.
I do think, though, if somebody was going to be an abuser, if you are with them in a relationship for 10 years and then you get married, they're not going to just randomly start abusing you because you're married. I don't, that's not how it works. Like, if somebody is an abuser...
I mean, that is true, because the thing is, when you marry a person, the first thing that they would show is their good traits and their good quality. There's a saying that first impression always shows first. That's why they call it. Your first impression is your best impression. That's the famous saying in, when it comes to relationship or dating. But the thing is, a person cannot just show his true colors the next day. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a while. Once that best impression runs out, that person will slowly show his true color. And that creates chaos in the marriage. And that creates an irreconcilable differences in the marriage. The person becomes bitter, dark, bad, whatever you could think of. And there's a multiple reasons why that person turns from good to bad in the marriage. Let's continue.
There's a pattern of it.
That shows up quite early.
Yeah, and if you've been with them long enough and you've vetted them long enough, you'll either see those signs or, God forbid, you'd actually experience that yourself.
I think the most risk is always going to be for men if women are paid to leave. And that's how it's set up now. And you can see that with the results because more women leave. It's a 90% chance she leaves if you're college educated.
Divorce is a business. The richest women in America right now are divorcees. They're billionaires.
Okay.
Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
Bill Gates.
So what does that actually mean?
It's a business. So you
guys are statistics. So they're married to billionaires and the divorce.
Jeff Bezos didn't.
It doesn't mean that.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean
No, but it doesn't matter. What I'm saying for
so are you saying she married him purely because of money?
No, but what I'm saying is,
What I'm saying
is, women are incentivized to leave their man.
Okay, but
They're incentivized to leave their man.
My point was that divorce isn't only a money concept. I was saying that when women get divorced, obviously there's a money aspect to it. I was saying that there's also a mental, emotional consequence to it as well. Anyone that does divorce, it's not the same.
True.
Afterwards. So that's also a consequence where, and I don't think any woman or man is just getting married with the desire to get married.
You're correct, but there's a difference between like emotional damage that's going to happen on both sides, but she is rewarded. Men are not.